fortunate one. Paradise must be won. Paradise must be won. Each day and each night, through darkness and through light.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. إنه من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد. My dear brothers and sisters and dear viewers, we are still elaborating on the topic 17 benefits of lowering one's gaze. The first benefit is to, which you will reap if you lower your gaze, that you save your heart from grief, pain, etc. And believe me, my dear brothers and sisters, everything that you see, if it is haram, it will affect your heart. What you see goes to the heart. What you hear also affects your heart. What you eat haram, it will affect your heart. Don't think that you will eat haram money, haram income, and you will have soft heart full of iman. No, you're not, because you are eating haram. So the one who eats haram, his heart will be sick heart. It will not be healthy heart. That's why he doesn't care. Haram, no problem. Because there is no khawf, there is no fear in his heart. Touching haram affects your heart. That's why in Islam, no shaking hands. No shaking hands with women. Women who are not your mahram, a woman whom you can marry, you cannot shake hand with her. It is haram in Islam. Prophet ﷺ said it would be better for one of you to receive an arrow entering from one side and coming from the other side, better for him than shaking a hand with a woman. It's not a mahram. Because when you touch the hand, soft hand, beautiful woman, tender, and she is, what are the messages that you are exchanging? I once read an article, a journalist, he did this experiment. You know the telephone booth, she goes inside, she puts money and leaves some coins and comes out. The next caller goes in, finds the coins, he would put the coins in his pocket. He finishes his call, he comes out, immediately she's there asking him, did you find any coins inside? And he would tell her, no. He did this with many callers, many men, all of them saying, no, no. Then to one of them, when he was coming out, he shook hand with him. Hello, how are you? Did you find any coins inside? Oh yes, here they are. So the one who created us, Allah, who knows the weakness of us. So Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, don't shake hands with women. See the beauty about Islam? I say a woman, I put my head down. I don't look at her because I don't want to spoil my heart, number one. I'm afraid of Allah, number two. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching me. And He has commanded me to lower my gaze. I'll tell you, this is a true story, happened in America. Beautiful story. One brother, pious, righteous, mashallah, he was looking for a job. So he went to one of these buildings, giving his application papers, and a woman entered the elevator, the lift, and she found this man, this boy, inside. She was afraid, maybe now he will talk to her, harass her, something. So she was preparing herself and she was cautious. But to her surprise, that this brother, when the woman entered the elevator, he put his head down. He didn't look at her. And when he reached the floor that he wanted, he came out. She followed him. And she asked him, why didn't you look at me? Why you didn't look at me? Am I ugly? Still, he's putting his head down. He said, I don't know whether you are ugly or beautiful. I'm a Muslim and I cannot look at you. My deen, my religion, my belief forbids me from looking at other women. He said, what? What is your deen? He said, I'm a Muslim. Tell me about Islam. He started telling her. She said, how can one become Muslim? He said, okay, come. He took her to the masjid. She became Muslimah. And he married her. He became Muslimah and he married her. This woman, this girl, was very rich. And now, mashallah, he's very rich. Because Allah, because of his taqwa, because of his piety, righteousness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him this rich woman who accepted Islam. Imagine, Allah guided her through him to the deen of Islam because of his piety, because of practicing the deen, just by practicing Islam. So imagine this beautiful deen. A man sees a woman, he puts his head down. You don't shake hands with women. I know a brother back home, practicing, mashallah, and he is a manager, mudir, in an oil company. He travels, he's a director actually. When he travels to Europe, he sends them an email, I am a Muslim, I don't shake hands with women. So they respect him for that. So to avoid embarrassment, a woman comes and puts her hand forward. So he notifies them, he informs them. So lowering the gaze, my dear brothers and sisters, indeed, it protects you. And I would like to share with you this story, which Imam Ibn al-Jawzi rahimahullah mentioned. He said in Baghdad, there was a mu'adhin. You know, mu'adhin, the one who calls for the prayers. And in those days, the mu'adhin had to climb and go to the minaret and chant the adhan, say the adhan. So the imam was always telling this boy, the mu'adhin, my son, when you make the adhan, close your eyes. Close your eyes. And the boy was doing that throughout his life. Every time he makes adhan, he would make adhan, he would close his eyes, every time. Till one day, the shaitan came to him and told him, what's wrong with you? Open your eyes at least once. Allahu Akbar. And he opened his eyes. Guess what happened? He saw that beautiful girl in front of him. Because in those days, the houses will be around the masjid. And the minaret, the manara, will be the tallest building in the area. So he saw this girl inside her house. He came running. He didn't complete the adhan. Finished. He got hit by the arrow, what they call it, cupid arrow, the cupid's arrow. See the young boys and girls, hearts, drawing hearts, arrows through the heart, and the hearts are dripping blood, right? That is called, in the Greek mythology, the cupid's arrow. Just one look, she hit him with that poisonous arrow into his heart. This mu'adhin Muslim came down running, knocking on the door of the girl. She opened. What do you want? I want to marry you. I want to marry you. My dear brothers and sisters and dear viewers, stay tuned. We'll see you inshallah after the break.
Paradise must be won.
Welcome back, my dear brothers and sisters and dear viewers. We were discussing before the break the story that mentioned by Imam Ibn al-Jawzi about the boy, the muaddin, who saw that girl and he opened his eyes and he could not complete the adhan, and he came down running, knocking on the door of the girl's house, asking her, I want to marry you. She told him, first of all, I'm not Muslimah. I'm a non-Muslim. That's number one. Number two, there is proper method you have to follow. You have to ask for my hand through my father. Okay, no problem. Where is your father? He's desperate. Said, my father will be here in the evening. So the boy did not pray Dhuhr, Asr. He's in love, waiting only for her father. Her father came, and he saw the father. He said, we are not Muslim. He said, what's the problem? He said, no, it's a problem. I will not get you married to my daughter till you leave Islam. Leave your deen. Follow my belief. I will give you my daughter. He said, no problem. I will leave Islam. Just get me married. He left the deen. And he died on that night as non-Muslim. Imagine, from muaddin to a non-Muslim. He left Islam. He lost this life and the life to come. Because of what? The look. Because of the look. Before we mention the second benefit, there is a beautiful hadith. The Prophet ﷺ says, this is in Musnad Ahmad and Nasa'i, whosoever leaves something for the sake of Allah, then Allah, the Almighty, the Magnificent, will replace it with something better. You leave something, fi sabilillah, something better will come. You leave everything for the sake of Allah. I will not do it for the sake of Allah. There is something haram, I will leave it. Some Muslims today, you ask him, leave the haram. He asks you, I have no other choice. No other choice. Bring me alternative, I will leave the haram. In other words, what he is saying, oh Allah, I will not leave the haram until you give me something halal. That's the meaning of it. You don't want to quit the haram until I get something halal. No. The Muslim who fears Allah, he quits immediately and he leaves the haram. Because who is the Razzaq? Allah or the job? You choose. Tell me. If the job is the Razzaq, then don't leave it, because your rizq will be stopped. So worship the job itself, the profession. If you believe that Allah is the Razzaq, the one who provides, then rely on Him and He will create for you an exit and He will provide for you. Allah says in the Quran clearly, وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ, listen to this, وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. Whoever fears Allah, Allah will open doors for him. Allah will create an exit for him, outlet for him, and He will provide for him from sources he cannot expect. So this beautiful hadith talks about that. Whosoever, any Muslim, male or female, leaves something for the sake of Allah, who will provide? Allah. For the sake of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Most High, will replace it with something better. Allah will give you a better job. This job you are doing, it has haram, Allah will make it easy for you to find something halal, and it's better. The second benefit that we can reap of lowering one's gaze, that lowering the gaze my dear brothers and sisters, it brings about, indeed, and generates light, brightness on the face. And this you can see it. Those people who are pious, righteous, you can see there is light on their face. Light. Someone obedient to Allah, pious, guarding his senses against evil, is not like someone who is always watching the haram. The one who is watching the haram, you see there is darkness on his face, gloominess on his face. So the lowering the gaze generates this light and brightness on the face. And there will be more brightness on the day of resurrection, as Allah says in Surah Al Imran, Surah number 3, Ayah 107. وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ بْيَضَّتْ وُجُوهُهُمْ فَفِي رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. But those whose faces will be lit with white, they will be in the light of Allah's mercy. They will be fi rahmatillah, therein to dwell forever. There will be light for you on the day of resurrection. By that light, you will be walking on the sirat. So much so that those who are walking behind you, they are walking in your light. So if we lower our gaze, insha'Allah, we'll have that light. That light will see the way. Will see the way. Number 3, the third benefit. Lowering the gaze, my dear brothers and sisters, it brings about illumination of the heart. The heart becomes illuminated and clear perception, insight. You see things clearly because your insight, not the sight, the insight, al-basira. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you the basira, the insight. Your heart is guided. Your heart is illuminated with the iman. Your heart is content. Your heart in peace. As Imam Ibn Qayyim says, sometimes the heart will be dancing out of the joy, dancing of this happiness. So if we lower our gaze, look only to what is halal, we'll feel this peace inside our hearts. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَوَمَنْ كَانَ مَيْتًا فَأَحْيَيْنَاهُ وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُ نُورًا يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ كَمَنْ مَثَلُهُ فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ لَيْسَ بِخَارِجٍ مِنْهَا. Can he who was dead, to whom we gave life, and a light whereby he can walk amongst men, be like him who is in the depths of darknesses, from which he can never come out? Are they the same? Reflect on this beautiful ayah. Allah is saying, someone who is dead, and then we give him life, this life of the iman. Because, as you know, the Prophet ﷺ said, the one who remembers Allah and the one who doesn't remember Allah, like the dead and the living. Someone who's alive and someone is dead. Many of us, their hearts are dead hearts. Because the hearts, they don't reject anything. They don't reject the haram. They don't react. They don't reject the munkar, the evil. Everything is normal, acceptable. You know, the Prophet ﷺ says in the hadith that when you see something wrong, shar, evil, immoral, change it with your hand. If you cannot, with your tongue. If you cannot, in your heart. That means hate it and don't do it. And then he said, وَلَيْسَ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ مِنَ الْإِيمَانِ حَبَّةُ خَرْدَلٍ. If this evil, this munkar, you don't hate it in your heart even, then you have no iman. gone. You lost your iman. You see the haram, nothing. The heart, you don't say, A'udhu billah. No, you don't say that. You don't feel it. You get used. So your heart is dead. Your heart is dead. But the heart, which is alive, when you see something haram, you say, A'udhu billah, Astaghfirullah. For instance, when you go to Mecca for Umrah and you stay, or Hajj, stay there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, and then you come back to your country. All this time, 5 prayers in the masjid, reading Quran, Iman, mashallah, high, hitting the ceiling, very high. The moment you land in your country in the airport and you start seeing all this haram stuff, you start saying, A'udhu billah, your body is reacting. What is this? What is this? But that reaction will not last for long, not last long. Soon you start to cool down, back to square one. Back to square one. Get used to it. So the heart that does not reject the munkar and react is dead heart. As long as your heart keeps rejecting the evil, and you say astaghfirullah and asking Allah forgiveness and lower your gaze, alhamdulillah, still there is life in your heart. May Allah keep our hearts alive. My dear brothers and sisters and dear viewers, till we meet you, inshallah, in the coming episode, I leave you in the company of Allah, under Allah's protection. May Allah bless you and protect you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Spread the word, oh man. Spread the word of Islam. Oh, fortunate one.